I followed 5 steps that took me from truck to tech. In this video, I'll show you each step as I tell my story. By the end of this video, you will know the exact roadmap that I used and how you can adapt it for yourself. Most people overthink how to get into IT. Should I go cloud? Networking? Data? QA? Here's the truth. It doesn't matter. Your first job doesn't need to be perfect. It's just a first door, an entry point that gets you hired and lets you move up later. So, how do you find your first door? The first thing you should think about is your previous experience. Office work? Probably IT help desk is your thing. Are you keen to details? Look at QA. Did you set up your home server? Do you enjoy configuring your fancy ass big Wi-Fi router at home? Look at networking or DevOps. That might be your thing. Think about growth. Some jobs like manual QA or IT help desk, they don't pay too much on the long run, but they're the perfect opportunities to get into IT and then convert yourself into security, into software engineering, into DevOps, you name it. Ask real people. LinkedIn, Discord, Reddit. A lot of beginners share where they landed their first jobs. For me personally, QA was the backdoor to IT. Not glamorous, not fancy, but it got me in. Step 2. Prepare the switch. Picking QA was one thing. Preparing my life for the switch was another. So, what did I do? I rented out our house in Vegas, saved the money pillow for 6 months, and moved my wife and 3-year-old son into a small apartment. We cut expenses to the bone so I could focus. I also knew that I need structure, not just self-study. That's why I moved to California and joined a QA school. I needed deadlines, accountability, and a community, of course. Not everyone has to do that. If you're young, maybe it's just cutting distractions. If you can't save 6 months, study part-time after work. But the point stays the same. Clear your runway before you try to take off. Step 3. Learn what the market pays for. Now, before I even start dropping any tech words, remember this: you don't need coding to get into IT. Plenty of jobs like IT support or manual QA don't require any coding, but coding does raise your ceiling. More doors open, salaries grow faster. And here's my truth. I had a wife, I had a son, I had a mortgage, and trucking paid decent money. I just couldn't afford to start at 35k a year. I needed a path to 6 figures within 1 year. Otherwise, the switch wouldn't make any sense for my family. That's why I decided to look at programming at the very beginning. I went on dice.com and started searching for these keywords: programming languages, automation tools like Selenium or Playwright. Even today, Java plus Selenium shows up everywhere in QA automation jobs. So that was my pick. Java plus Selenium. One language, one tool, full focus. And don't worry, coding isn't a rocket science. You're just giving your computer instructions step by step. At first, you will learn a few words, then you build small things. If you can follow instructions, you can learn coding. Pro tip: if I ever mention a tech word that you don't understand, just let me know in the comments down below. I will explain it to you. Step 4. Turn your projects into experience. When you don't have any work history, your projects are your experience. Don't just watch tutorials. Turn them into proof. QA, automate a few test cases on a real website like Amazon.com. Or if you're doing manual QA, write a comprehensive test plan, write test cases, file some bugs. DevOps, build a CI/CD pipeline in GitHub Actions. IT support, set up a home lab with virtual machines and practice troubleshooting. Put those projects on GitHub and on your resume. Employers don't care if it was done at home, they just care if you can do it. And here's the reality check. Most jobs say that they need 2 or 3 years of experience, and that can feel discouraging. And here's the thing, recruiters by default inflate the requirement, and many of those jobs pay too little for real senior engineers to even bother applying. That's why beginners who show solid projects can still land those jobs. Your portfolio is your experience. So don't just filter for entry level or no experience, just apply. Step 5. Prepare for the interviews early. Most people wait for the very end to prepare for the interviews. Then, when their first opportunity comes, they freeze, they can't answer anything, and then they blow it. I didn't wait. While I was still learning, I studied common interview questions. At first, I couldn't answer half, and that was good. It showed me what to focus on. And here's something people always forget. Recruiters want you to be hired. That's their jobs. They get paid for it. So don't be afraid to talk to them early. Ask about job openings. Ask about requirements. Learn what companies really want. Find out what questions usually come up. Every recruiter call is practice. Every single rejection is feedback. Every chat builds confidence. So by the time my first real interview came, I was ready. As always, there should be a secret sauce. And it is, of course, consistency. I didn't learn fast, but I showed up every single day, even for a single hour at a truck stop. You don't need 12 hours a day as I did. If you only have 2, that's fine, but be consistent and learn something new every single day. That's what makes everything else work. So let's recap what I exactly did during these 4 months. First, I attended a QA school that taught me all the basics and fundamentals of quality assurance. I learned testing methodologies, I learned about testing pyramid, I learned about performance testing, I learned about API testing. The school gave me overall understanding of what IT is: SQL, HTML, some basic networking, everything in 4 months. At the same time, after school, I continued learning Java and Selenium. I talked to dozens of recruiters. I learned exactly what the market needs. So that sounds simple, right? Yeah, simple but not easy. At the end of 3 months, I was able to get my very first internship at a real company in San Jose. Yeah, it was free internship. I didn't get any money for that, but it didn't matter to me because the experience that I got working on a real project was priceless. That internship should have lasted 1 month, but I didn't wait till the end. I applied everywhere. I applied to every single position that had Java and Selenium in it. And after 2 weeks into my internship, I was invited for an interview. They asked me to write a test framework from scratch. But guess what? Whole 4 months of my preparation, I was working on a test framework. Of course, I just rewrote that. Of course, I used those building blocks to build this new framework for them. It was super easy. And so everything clicked together. I was able to land my first tech job. Yeah, they didn't pay too much. I was given $30 per hour, but I was so happy. I couldn't believe that I was able to get a real job. When I look back at who I was 4 months ago, it was unbelievable. My English has improved. I lost 20 pounds cycling to and from the school. I completely switched my mindset. And finally, I saw some spark in my future. And of course, this contract job was just the beginning for me. Subscribe to not miss my future videos. I will tell you exactly how to grow from $30 an hour up to 200K a year with all the benefits, working from home. And let's recap those 5 steps that was blurred in the beginning. Find your door, prepare the switch, learn what the market pays for, turn your projects into experience, prepare for the interviews early, and of course, bonus, be consistent in your learning. And I truly believe if I was able to do that, you can do it too, if you want. Cheers.